Here's the deal. Every experience and every day, every vacation, every tough moment, every good moment since I've had, since I picked up my cross has been illuminated simply because the Lord was with me. Emmanuel, Lord with us. Every day that I've lived since I truly began believing has been Christ. Philippians 1:21 says that. He walks with me. He shows me where to go. He lets me come to him for anything. He's the one person who knows me the best. He's the first person I speak to when I wake up, and he's the last one I say goodnight to before I go to bed. I talk to God regularly. I read his word daily. I learn about him. I go to church. These are gifts of grace by the power of the Holy Spirit. There's no way that I could have magically manufactured the desire to do these things on my own a year ago.
My sophomore year ski trip is one I especially remember because this is when everything exploded for my personal faith. On the trip, we were asked what we put the weight of our life on and what makes us get up in the morning. This hit me hard. I realized how meaningless my life had been because it wasn't 100% for Jesus. If Jesus is not the rock that our life stands on, it's like stepping out onto a sheet of thin ice. Jesus is the only thing firm enough to hold us. He is the only one that can give real life.
I felt as though I were constantly searching for something to lean on, and things started to change when I went on the missions trip with FPC to New Orleans after my freshman year. On missions, the Holy Spirit stirred in me. I spent 10 full days living completely for Jesus Christ by serving others and reading the Bible. I spent these 10 days around others that lived for Christ, who gave their life to him. I began talking to mentors about what it meant to fully give everything you have to God. I never experienced a week like this where the focus was solely on Jesus.
On that mountaintop and throughout the rest of the summer, I realized that smoking weed and drinking and all was my way of trying to fill the holes in my life that were causing me pain. I now know that it is Jesus who will fill the empty void in my life, and it is him who I need to lean on.
Living my life for Jesus caused me to become distant from my friends and miss out on parties, but that doesn't matter to me anymore. At first, it bothered me, but because of Jesus and what he's done in my life, I started caring less. I became okay that I was growing further away from my friends because Jesus had done something to set me apart from them. Making time in my day for my relationship with Jesus has had a major role in my life this past year. The change has been radical.
But my life was turned upside down by Jesus, and I have not been the same ever since, and I've been filled with an inexpressible joy. For starters, my perfect boyfriend and I broke up, and suddenly I wasn't okay with getting drunk on the weekends and waking up to put on a face every Sunday morning to pretend that my guilt wasn't killing me. Looking back, I would rather be wholly in darkness than in limbo between having a burning passion for Jesus and living a life that satisfies only myself.
Jesus Christ has changed my life in a way that I never thought was possible, and without him, I'm nothing. His death on the cross was the ultimate sacrifice so that we may live, and his resurrection was the gift of everlasting life. What I have to tell you this morning, if you just take anything that I say at this pulpit, I want you to remember this. Remember to keep Christ first in your life and to always seek after his righteousness. Jesus Christ is the only thing that will truly satisfy you, and I encourage you to seek after him full-heartedly and to always put your faith in him.
Jesus could not have been more clear. The path I was taking was hard, but he knew it was good for me. My journey with Jesus does not consist of one dramatic moment when Jesus turned my life upside down. I feel blessed that Jesus rocks my world every single day. I pray that everyone would know that he is present in every situation and that he knows you inside and out. Jesus is the only thing worth living for.
Even though that I was just this screaming baby, my parents were joyful to feed me and to nourish me and to clean me up and carry me around when I was crying and to take care of me and protect me. And even more amazing than that is that Jesus is willing to do the same thing for us, not just when we're actually infants, but forever. And I'll never grow out of the stage where I need Jesus to feed me the truth of the gospel, the sweet truth of the gospel, and clean me up and carry me around when I'm sad.
If you don't know, Charles went to be with the Lord when he was 16 a couple of years ago. But he was and is and always will be a huge part of this senior class. The truth is, I knew when he was that age, the reason why I picked this picture out is I knew when he was that age that he would speak on this particular Sunday. The first thing that I remember about Charles that I will never forget is that he was hungry for Jesus. Paul says this in Philippians. And when I think about Charles at the end of his freshman year, just before he entered his sophomore year, I think about these words. Paul says, I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow to attain the resurrection from the dead. As you can see in the picture, Charles was sometimes goofy. He was always smiling, always laughing, always wanting other people to laugh. But I can tell you, in the summer before his sophomore year, his frequent smiles turned to frequent moments of intensity and desire to know Jesus.
I no longer wanted to live my life all for myself. Jesus melted my heart of stone and filled me with peace and joy. I knew from that moment on I would never be the same again. I had experienced something that cannot be explained fully. The best way to put it is that I was naked and he clothed me. I was blind, but now I see. I was dead, but now I live. Amazing grace.